Ladies and gentlemen, space tech in everyday life is one of those topics that really sound inexhaustible. There is so much of it, and yet we really need to be educated about it because people take it for granted very often. Here to talk to you about it, Kinga Gruszecka, Polish Space Agency. Enjoy.
Thank you for introduction. My name is Kinga Gruszecka, and today you've heard a lot about space technology in everyday life. So you might wonder why again. And the reason for that is because we need to raise awareness. We need to explain and we need to discuss and talk with you how space is benefiting you and us in everyday life. So for last 3 days, I've been at ERC 2021 as a judge, and I asked the same question to the teams: how you can transfer your technology, your know-how that you worked on for almost a year or sometimes even longer than a year. And they often had troubles with answering to this question because it's not common approach. We don't know, it's new to us, we don't know the space and we don't know how we can benefit from it. So it's always a learning approach to us. But today, I would like to show you a bigger picture. I would like to tell you about all that we do in space sector. And I would like to ask you for some help. So let me start with a short story. Just around a year ago, I was asked from our PR manager for a short note for a journalist on how human beings benefit from space. And I wrote this story. I was quite proud of myself. I pat myself on the arm because it was everything in a short paragraph. Like I wake up from the mattress that the foam remembers the shape. I use Teflon to do my breakfast. I use water filter, and that was all the story. Every single step in a day shown by technology transfer examples. And the journalist used one sentence saying technology from space is important. So I will use this opportunity of speaking today to you to tell you a little bit more. We explored the space. We sent our probes closer to the sun. We sent them to the Mars and to other planets as well to understand what's going on there and what might happen to the Earth, what was at the beginning. We develop more and more of the technology. We try to make them more accurate to understand our solar system and what's around it. And there is a lot of technology and IPRs that might be used, that might benefit our lives. I was talking with a Space Research Center professor, Romana Radkiewicz, who is working on interstellar missions. And I asked her, like, you spend so much time advocating for another Voyager, another interstellar mission. Why? Why we should invest? That's like extreme amount of money. And she said, because you never know what you will get out. We send some hypotheses, we send some requirements for the mission, but what will be out of that, we never know. And of course, we developed the technology to go further, to understand more, to do the research better, to get more accurate data. Right now, for last few days, we discuss a lot about Mars, we discuss about Moon, and how we are planning to get there to understand better what we can have out of it, how we can, what is there, the samples return. And we couldn't done that without the technology that we already developed for, well, almost over 60 years. And the technology transfer, the technology that might be used on Earth while sending as in setting up the Apollo mission, we didn't know that we will have, for example, small vacuums in the houses. That's the technology transfer. We didn't understand computing language. Like, we had a huge computer in the room, but we didn't know how to program it. Now, with our capabilities, we can do so much more. And we developed this technology. We use it, for example, in Alzheimer research or in medicine. Like during the pandemic, we've heard a lot about benefits from space for medicine. And the most common examples that I've heard is the iPhone camera, something that we have out of Mars exploration. There is much more examples of the technology transfer. If you are interested in that, you can find out more of the graphics on PSPA Facebook page, to which I encourage you. The point being is that we didn't know that this will be helpful and that technology will change our lives while setting up the mission. So my point that I'm trying to do today is that we have to have open eyes and we have to be open for new ideas. We have to observe whatever is going on in our lives. You've heard a lot about space application. Just a second ago, there were some examples as the most visible benefits for society. And yes, there is many of those examples. Like, for example, navigation and positioning. We can use it as a navigation in our phones, but we also use it on market to synchronize time, something that might cost us a fortune if not done properly. Polish Space Agency, the organization that I represent today, is participating in a project concerning communication, governmental communication, so secure one. And I remember preparing myself for this project. I researched how we use the satellite communication, and I find out that, for example, in Austria, it's used to monitor the water, that it's up in the mountains, so not easy to access. And the research center put a sensor so they understand what's the state of the water, if it's safe for human and it's drinkable or not. The data from sensors are sent to the satellite and then directly to the research center that can inform the city managers if they can use the water or they have to stop it. And similarly, it's used, for example, for solar panel warehouses and plants. So it's easy to manage them, even if they are in remote locations, sometimes even other countries. I believe that for the last few years, you all have heard a lot about satellite imagery because it's the easiest example. We can use it in disaster management, we can use it in agriculture to understand how to get as much as possible out of the soil without harming it. So those examples are already in use. We can understand better what's going on in the earth about the environment thanks to satellite imagery, thanks to European program Copernicus. And actually just a year ago, we invest in a land cover map for Poland. So we understand how to better plan the cities. So they are easier, accessible, they are more pleasant to live in. Because that's the technology that actually can change our lives. How many of us get frustrated because of the traffic or that we have no green zone in the city and we have nothing to breathe with because we have no trees? With satellite imagery, we can precisely cut out the trees that are not bringing any value, that are not needed, and we can plan better the green zones for us, for people that live in cities. And just to show you a full spectrum of space technology, I should mention that all of this satellite technology is possible because we have satellite, methodological satellite, navigation and positioning, communication, and Earth observation. So those are our assets on orbit that we have to protect, and we do so with sensors placed around the globe. And the one thing is that we understand better the position of every single object on orbit, but we also have this technology that might be helpful in the future, that might be transferred. So we are explorers. We explore the universe, we explore other globes, and we explore the Earth. And now I would like to ask you to explore your life, your everyday, and to think where you use space technology, where you might actually benefit from space technology, where it's missing, how this might improve your life. And I know that not all of us are engineers, I'm not, and I know that accessing the patented IPRs isn't easy, I know that. But then there are a few easy ways to understand better what's going on and why it's important to invest in space. Because we will not go further to the moon or to Mars without your support, your money as well, because it's taxpayer money, but to be sure that it's worth going, you need to understand why we benefit from it. And if some parents of elementary school kids are listening to us and watching this speech, as Polish Space Agency has a competition for elementary school students, we ask them also to tell us the story, how they discover space, how they observe the night sky, or they see the use of space technology. So if you know any kids in elementary school, please share that they can apply till October 4th to our competition. And last year we've got over 2,000 works from schools from different parts of the country, which was inspiring and super hard to judge because they were telling us their stories about summer with music, movies, like poetry. So get inspired from space as we do. And to be honest, that's something that we have out of space as well, that not many people mention, is the approach, the curiosity, the feeling that we can discover, we can research, we can test, and it's gonna be fine because we are testing the technology. And testing, it's hard and expensive, and we fail so many times, and it's super hard. And today you can see all the teams, and often they come from different countries, different continents, and they fail. But space teaches that without testing, without trying, nothing will be done. No exploration we can talk about without the openness to and not being afraid. Another thing that I would love to encourage you is, and I'm sorry for that one, is to visit us in Warsaw, for example, and see what we are doing under Cosmic Hub. I, a second ago, mentioned that it's hard for not engineers or sometimes engineers to find the technology that might solve our problems. Around Europe, we have a network of ESA Business Incubation Center, and you can approach those people with your problems or your ideas how to transfer the space technology or how to transfer non-space technology to space and solve the issues that we have in space sector. We don't have ESA Business Incubation Center in Poland, so if you have such a question, you can visit us in Cosmic Hub. And on September 16th, so in a few days, we have this event about space tech in agriculture. It's already another edition about space tech in everyday life. We had already about security and insurance. We have the event about culture, where we are trying to show different approach. The most stories about technology transfer that we heard today are about upstream, so transferring something, some technology that went to explore the space. Space application, it's downstream. And those people, I have to tell you, do not talk very often. So we are trying to bring them in one place, and also other people that are not familiar with space, and we are trying to discuss how different sectors can benefit from space. And again, guests before mentioned space application and competition. We organize hackathons, so everyone can try to play a little bit with space data. If you are interested, please visit our website and you will find out about upcoming hackathons and events that we organize. It's all from me today. I hope you will have your minds and eyes open for space technology. And well, if you have any questions, I'm here around, so please ask.
Thank you very much, Kinga. I think we can give a round of applause to Kinga, no doubt. Kinga, the countdown clock tells me we have 3 minutes, 30 seconds, so surely someone has a question. Do we have a question for Kinga? Because if not, I'm going to ask one of those nasty questions, possibly. So save Kinga and ask an easy, friendly question. Anyone? Yeah, we do have a question.
I will try to be short. Kinga, I have a question. When the space starts in your life, do you know the day when you thought, okay, that is the way?
That's gonna be a funny story because, well, I work for public administration. So some of you might think it's boring. Most of you are right. And I apply to public administration to totally different, totally different role. And HR manager, the recruiter actually told me like, no, with this experience, you have to go to space. I'm like, what? What space? And that's how I get to know the space sector. But it wasn't that day. I worked for like over 2 years for space sector, and I was moved to other innovation matters. And I miss this curiosity. I miss those people who can work for hours because some test it's not working, because the data that they get, it's not actually something that they expect, and there is troubleshooting mode. And I miss this environment, this atmosphere. That was the day, I don't remember which one it was exactly, but that was the day when I pick up the phone and ask a colleague that, okay, I'm ready to move back to space.
Proszę.
I am Kazmir, and I have a question. You are POLSA agency. How do you support education in space for the students in the schools? And second question, in America is program STEM, science, technology, engineering, math. If something support POLSA in this direction. Thank you.
And a very quick answer, please, because we still have one more question.
Okay, so very quickly, yes, we do STEM education as well. We are trying to incorporate and inspire through space. And one of the projects I can mention is Future Space, where we are talking with teachers from high schools, and we dedicate materials to students. So we use space to teach them some more boring subjects like maths, physics. And how we support? Well, we organize workshops, we organize meetings, so they coordinate and exchange knowledge, activities like that. Whenever they have some issue, they know our doors are open. So it quite depends on the project and activity. We try to support for ERC, but also for ESA competitions as well. Thank you.
Yes, the question. You're talking about activities in the vicinity of Earth or moving on Mars, but is POLSA planning any missions to the other planets like Venus or Jupiter?
That's a very good question. We support our companies and policymakers in their activities with European Space Agency, and this agency is planning most of the missions that we participate in. Right now we are researching the possibilities and Polish industry capabilities and science capabilities, of course, as well. But ESA, European Space Agency, is the agency that we want to participate in mission with.
Kinga Gruszecka, Polish Space Agency. Thank you very much, Kinga.
Thank you.
Thank you.